Humanity Matters.
Hi, and thank you for joining me today. I'm your host, Samantha Sosnik, of my podcast, Putting the Brakes on Bullying. And today I have the pleasure of co-hosting with my friend Bernie, who hosts his own podcast called Ordinary People, who actually do extraordinary things. And thank you, Bernie, for being here.
It's always a pleasure to do a podcast with you.
Thank you. You and I host two very different podcasts, almost at opposite ends of the spectrum. But they ultimately serve the same purpose, and they are to help others with humanity and spreading a meaningful message. And today, I'm excited to have my friends, an incredible couple. I'm lucky to call my friends Rachel and Jeff Miller.
Hi.
Happy to be here.
So I wanted to start by asking you, and it's not going to be a discussion on what you do for a living, but I wanted you to first tell us what you do for a living, each of you.
Basically, I'm a urologist. I've been in practice in Boca Raton, Florida, since 1993, originally from Philadelphia. And basically, I worked at Boca Raton Regional Hospital up until about 3 years ago. Now I'm doing mostly hospital work, covering different emergency rooms for urological emergencies, or actually around the country, central, northern Florida, Ohio, out in Arizona. And I do that basically about 2 to 3 weeks per month at this point now.
I'm a registered nurse. We actually met when I was in my nursing school and training. Worked as a pediatric oncology nurse and then ended up, because of need, working urology with Jeff until about a year or two ago. And I kind of stepped down from that. I did mostly kind of nurse care coordination, helping patients kind of, find their way through the healthcare system. Started a company recently to help with that. So kind of stepping to the next part of my nursing career.
I don't want people to think this is a conversation just about your professions. It's actually not even close. You've both taken your work far, far beyond what most people imagine. And I know you're very humble. I know that about you both. But what you do for others is truly fascinating and heartwarming. And people need to hear how you're making a real difference in others' lives. So we had talked before, and being that we're friends, I know a lot of your stories and the things that you've been accomplishing. And I wanted to start with your work in Haiti. And if you could tell us about your work in Haiti, and then bring to the table the correlation you made, which I thought was so interesting, with your work in Haiti and bullying. I thought was an amazing correlation you brought to both of them. So just start with what you do in Haiti, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. In 1999, I had the opportunity to go down there with another urologist in New Jersey and set up in northern Haiti, which is a fairly remote area, a small hospital where we ended up doing surgery. And we equipped the hospital with everything we needed to perform urological surgery. And since that time, we've probably been down there, including Rachel with me, about 15, 16 times. The last couple of years have been held up, as we'll talk about, by... can you hear that? Sorry. Is it going there?
Go.
Okay. The last couple of times, a couple of years, we've been held up by the gangs who have not let us enter the country safely because of the kidnapping risk and road blockades. But during since 1999, we basically performed hundreds and hundreds of surgeries, mostly on men who are unable to urinate. And that's one of the fascinating things when you take someone who can't urinate, and we take that all for granted every day, and you prevent them from having to wear a catheter for their entire life, especially younger men in their 40s and 50s. It really is such a wonderful feeling when we come back to the next 6 months and we see that patient walking around working without a catheter. In the United States, we take that for granted. In 1 week, that person, if needed it, would have an operation and the catheter would be out. Here, if we weren't there, it would be years and years of living with a catheter. So that one thing alone, and good things come in small, in small doses.
Yeah, well, I want to interrupt you for a second. That a lot of things I think a lot of people in America take things for granted. They don't realize goes on in other countries, that, we just go about our day thinking that we're entitled to all these things. And then there's a lot of people that are in such pain and suffering that we don't really stop enough to think about it.
I do want to say that I think the majority of people who are the silent bystanders look the other way when it comes to issues like this, not just genocides and massacres around the world, but also people who are, in need of medical attention.
Yes.
There are a lot of charities that people can do it from their armchair where they can donate money, but then there are those who actually buy a plane ticket.
Yes. Well, that's why they're
bring their instrumentation and go out and help.
Yes.
Humanity. This is God's work. That's what it is.
I was just going to say, I think that we're lucky because this is something we've always wanted to do. Jeff has always wanted to do this since the moment I met him, go and help all over, different countries, internationally, just help people. So we're lucky because we're able to do that because of our, being, in the medical, we just have that ability. So we're able to do things.
You're taking your education. You're not just clocking in, at your job. You're taking it to a whole nother level of helping people that probably when they see you are just so incredibly grateful because this is so big to them. You're going there to change someone's life for the positive. So go ahead. I didn't want to interrupt you. I just wanted to make that point.
And that's how we feel. It's the little things you make a difference in someone's life is, it's so rewarding. And, the average person wouldn't think having, that they'd be able to, what it's like to live with a catheter. We see it. And then we said to ourselves, why should these people in this country be denied the kind of care, and we have the skills and the ability to go down there and do it. It's just because you have to sort of be able to think out of the box.
Yes.
You have to be adventurous. You have to take risks. There's no question going down to these countries is not the safest thing in the world. But if you don't take risks, you're not going to help. You're not going to be able to get things done. If you just take the easy way out and you don't want to think out of the box, you're not going to be able to do these kind of things. And we've been fortunate enough to be lucky enough to do it.
I can equate this to the Upstanders during the Holocaust. For example, my father was, thank God, and God bless these souls that actually risked their lives, harbored my father for a period of time. They were killed as a result. And then there was a gentleman who also helped rescue my dad during the Holocaust. He was between age 10 and 13, where he lived in the forest. But they took huge risks. And you guys are pretty much doing the same thing. This is an incredible mitzvah that you're doing. It's God's work for sure.
It is for sure. So so getting back to you feel free to continue, but I just wanted to explain how I thought it was amazing when you brought what it's like that even there's bullying. Can you explain that?
Yeah, I mean, basically, I think that when you look at bullying, it could be on a small scale. It could be in a school hallway based on someone's physical strength or popularity in school, or it could be on a nationwide scale, like we witnessed in Haiti, where it's based on who controls the guns, who controls the roads, who controls the political office. And basically, when someone with more power and more connections and more abilities uses their power to take advantage of and not help someone as opposed to helping, that is a definition of bullying. So basically what we saw, for example, we would bring a lot of things down with us. We would bring sneaks and extra clothing. And once on the way out, I gave a really nice pair of sneakers to this person who was so thankful for it and said they needed it and their kids needed it. We got to the airport and we missed our flight. We ended up coming back. And then I saw the same sneakers on somebody else. And it turns out that he sold the sneaks to somebody else for cash. And so when people live in desperate times and don't have the economic abilities, they use their powers to take advantage of others. We see that in, for example, customs officers in the airports who, when we go down there, may confiscate drugs and sell them instead of letting those drugs be used for kids in their own community. So I think that bullying on that large scale is when someone of power takes advantage of someone with lesser power for not a good reason. And so you see different classes of people in Haiti. You see a wealthy class, which tends to take advantage of those lower class and pays them lower wages. but they're doing it a lot of times out of desperation, and not, they're great people, but when it's a matter of survival, so bullying on that scale is widespread, and we would not recognize, we would say it's not fair. But for example, the gangs, when we try to get from the airport to the hospital, we get turned away, and we can't do our 25 surgeries that week and have to go back to the States. The gangs don't understand that they blocked us from helping their own people, but yet they did it for other reasons, and they basically bullied their own people. We go down there and we try to sort of equalize what's going on. We try to as Rachel said, try to make people feel that by doing good, you're saying before, for people is a way to counteract bullying, and let people know that there is pure goodness in the world, altruistic, goodness that, and sometimes that has to outweigh, the desperate need to take advantage of somebody else.
And how long would you see what you've accomplished on one trip last through to the other trip, or it's almost like starting over again?
No, I mean, we definitely see what's, from previous trips. So we often will see in follow up people that we've helped in the past trips. Like, for example, Jeff was actually coincidentally there during the earthquake, the terrible earthquake.
2010. Yeah.
2010.
We were actually happy. We were there. Our week that we were there was just coincidentally at the time of the quake. So we were in the earthquake. Yeah.
And when they were in the operating room, and the clock was shaking, they didn't know what was going. They didn't really know what was happening until they, when they were done, obviously. But the patient, the gentleman that they were operating on during that time, came back and saw them the following, maybe not the following year, maybe a couple of years after.
Yeah, we located him.
Yeah.
We call him Earthquake Man, but we were operating him during the earthquake, and we heard all the rumbling and the clocks and the windows falling off, and we carried him out of we finished the operation like quickly and carried him out into the street. And and so he's known around Haiti as the Earthquake Man. And when we come back, he doesn't know what to do for us. He's so happy, and
so nice.
And he's urinating.
Yeah, and he urinates. One of the offshoots of what we did during the quake is that there were some TV stations, some local South Florida stations that saw what we were doing, and there was quite a bit of starvation down there after the earthquake. And a couple of food scientists and sports nutritionists saw this article and called us when we got back and asked, do we want to set up this foundation? And we did. And it's called Hope Gel. And basically, since that, and even it's still going on, we formulated this product with them, a little packet that provides nutrition for these kids. And if they take 2 or 3 a day, it's equal to 1 or 2 meals. And we've been shipping that down there, since almost 2010. And we've done other countries also, including Nicaragua and Guatemala and Venezuela. So that was
like a high caloric protein.
These you hand deliver these when you go, or you're?
We did originally, and then now they get shipped through an organization called Food for the Poor out of South Florida, which is a wonderful organization that helps get them down there by containers and things. But it is another example of starting out with doing one good thing and then leading to 5 other good things. So.
First of all, have you been recognized by any formal organizations about the work that you do? And are you training other people? And are they joining you so that they can pass this on into the future?
We always take junior docs down there. We take nurses. We train a lot of, we train Haitians. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest thing that we do is when we're down there, we actually train the local Haitians how to do what we're doing. So when we leave, they're able to take over. That's something that I think is more, like you said, that's more real because we're not going to be able to do this forever. And there's organizations that want to get involved with us right now. University of South Carolina, there's Wash U in St. Louis. We've taken down some of their residents. Some of the drug companies and medical equipment companies have gone down with us to help out. So it's really evolved into a big, operation.
Amazing. So when I was thinking of when you mentioned that you were there during the earthquake, none of that fear, which I'm sure you had a significant amount of fear while you were there, didn't stop you from going back and again to continue. So that says a lot as well because it outweighed your fear. You just your need to help people wasn't going to be paralyzed.
Yes.
I mean, he was literally on a plane. We were on
Yeah.
the plane. Our daughters were on the plane.
Yeah, we took our kids down
We were
there.
in the cholera tents. We were in, all they were flying, sadly
Yeah.
flying people up from Port-au-Prince all over. And so it became like,
Yeah, it was
like a mash unit.
like a mash unit. Yeah. Yeah, but you sort of lose that fear when you're involved in these things. Your adrenaline is up. We were riding around in tanks and and from the United Nations, and I mean, I think you see a lot of these things in the news, things going on in Israel, the IDF and things. I mean, they're heroes. These guys, way above what we're doing. I mean, and I just think that you have that idea where you don't think twice about it. You just do it, and
Yeah, well, you guys are considered in my book, and I'm sure in Bernie's and anybody watching this, everyday heroes. Like, you're not famous. You don't have any goals. You don't have any ulterior motives. It's just purely to make sure that people are feeling better in many different capacities. And I've always said how amazing that is. It's just, I told you how much I admire it. It's things I would like to get involved with, and of course, we've spoken about that. And whatever I can do, going forward. And I wanted to discuss also, which I found to be an unbelievable story with your patient from Nicaragua. Can you tell us about that?
you want to tell about it?
Well, I'll set it up. Yeah, we have a very
He's the shyer one of us.
Yeah.
So yeah.
a very close
Yeah.
friend who was a patient, but we're allowed to say that now, who became a very close friend of ours, was diagnosed with lung cancer, terminal. And she's from Nicaragua, hadn't seen her family for years. They couldn't come here for different reasons. And so we were like, we were with her, we sat down, just like, well, we'll take you. So you can tell
Yeah.
her.
I mean, I think that thought process kind of comes from just the way we're like, sort of wired. Like, she was crying, and this is like a couple months ago, and her life's dream was to see her family again and sort of kiss the ground of Nicaragua where she was born. And she really doesn't have a lot of people or support system up here, and she really doesn't have a lot long to live. And I said, why don't we just take her? And what's stopping us? Well, it's dangerous. There's warning signs, for the kidnappings. So we just got an airline ticket, went down to Miami, got her on a plane, got her a passport, and we just took her. And we got a hold of her family in advance, and they met us at the airport. They took her to where she grew up, our whole hometown, and the food and the culture, and spent a few days and came right back. And I mean, it was just the most rewarding thing that she was in tears, crying of happiness
Right now,
the whole
talking
time.
about it because
Yeah. So
it was so
little things like that, people just don't think about. It's not hard. It wasn't hard for us to do. We were off, and we just got the airline tickets and just went.
Well, a lot of people would have the first thought in their head. First of all, they wouldn't even think about doing this. And second of all, they're thinking about, well, how am I going to get paid back for the airline ticket? Or how is this going to, and it's just that those thoughts wouldn't enter into my mind either, because I feel that I would literally be making someone's, probably close to her last wish come true. It's like, how could you turn your back? How could anybody turn their back on that and not feel like they really, truly just put a smile on her face, happy tears, like you said. And that's incredible. And she came back with you. I'm not sure if she's still alive.
She's still alive. We talked to her a lot, and
Okay, good.
she just sits there and just says that she's just ready for anything now. She's accepting things. This was the one last piece that she didn't have.
Well, maybe, to be honest with you, maybe you prolonged her life a bit with the joy, because people suffer from internal things that can shorten their life. Maybe you actually prolonged her life by doing this for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
we
so.
did.
I mean, the
Yeah.
whole family just is it's just, we
Yeah.
constantly get messages
Yeah.
from everyone. We feel like it was just, we were
Yeah.
so amazed to be a part of that. But just have to say, Jeff is like, he's like one of those people, we're going to do it. Like some people say, well, I can't this and that. He just does it.
There's too many obstacles. I can't do this. Right. No, but both of you, honestly, both of you.
Partner here, and it helps that we're both sort of in the medical field, because she needed a lot of medical care when we were down there doing it, and
So we really,
right up Rachel's alley, helping her with all the different, therapies
Yes.
and treatments that she needed to get her medically stable to be able to go on the trip. So
Rachel, you have this new program that you're implementing as well.
Yeah. I just found that, and working in the office and then working with another physician, I mean, a lot of my time really was spent helping patients kind of get through the healthcare system, helping them make appointments and the call, managing their care, their medicine, their prescriptions, and just finding roadblocks along the way, and I know that I know how hard it is. My mom's not here. She's in Arizona. So as a child of a parent, like what's going on? So I'm trying to kind of help bridge that gap and to help patients kind of maneuver through the system and be able to communicate with their children just so they kind of know what's going on. So I started this, it's called Caring Pathways, and
Yeah.
trying
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
trying to help,
Yeah.
help as much as I can.
I was gonna say it's kind of started that we had a patient that like she was just diagnosed with a I think a lung tumor, and the kids are up north. She's about 80 some years old. She's functional, but really doesn't get around. And she met with this doctor who gave her a list of like 20 things to do. You need two chest X-rays, a CAT scan, a medical oncology consult. Things. And so they're overwhelmed. And I think that what Rachel's great at doing is just sitting down with them, making a plan, calling the radiation center, calling the doctor, calling the family, and it's being their liaison to get through the healthcare system. So that's been really rewarding because these people or patients, I should say, are lost. They just don't know what to do.
Well, like you said, they're overwhelmed. They're overwhelmed. And I always say this about people, when someone's in a state of mind, they're going through a difficult time, they may not be thinking straight. They may not have the tools to be able to navigate. And then comes along Rachel, who is calm and not struggling with anything. And then she's able to take a deep breath and help them navigate, which could be totally overwhelming as an older person as well, in addition to. And you're making the pathway, like it's Caring Pathways, easier for them. And they don't have to have that much on their plate. And in general, you don't want to add to someone's plate. You want to help alleviate, what they have to do. And especially an older person that can no longer drive and may not understand, and the technology that has become so overwhelming for a lot of us, that they are now able, you're able to have someone that's clear-headed and take control of it, and they can breathe and relax knowing that it's being taken care of. I know I've been in situations that I have needed extra help with something because I may not know, and then someone comes along and helps me, and I'm grateful for it because you can get into a tizzy, you don't need the extra stress is what I'm saying.
Overwhelming. You're right. Well said.
Yeah.
Very well said.
Thank you. So that's wonderful. I mean, do you have anything? I'm sure.
This is humanitarian work. A very small percentage of society is willing to go out on a limb to do these things. It's not even that they're just going out and helping people, but they're risking their lives as well. I mean, this is huge for people to do things like this, but you have a good heart. You understand that people are suffering, and it hurts you that people are suffering, and you want to make a difference, and you are making a difference. There's a ripple effect to all the work that you do. First of all, it impacted me. It's impacting everybody that knows about the work that you're doing. I love the fact that you've taken it to the next level with Hope Gel. That's pretty incredible as well. So I hope you're getting the recognition that you deserve. You're probably not doing this for any recognition, and I get it. But I get it, but you certainly do deserve it. And the reason why recognition is important is because people learn about what you're doing. That's why it's important. At least they make it public, they make it known what you're doing, and more people will jump in to help you out. And I think
they may think, okay, I've been thinking about doing something, and now I see two people that are actually accomplishing it. How can I get involved? And that's how you spread kindness by, showing. And I know both of you don't do it for any other reason, but just for the mere fact. Some people do things because they want. What is the saying in Judaism? When you make donations, that you should be doing it anonymously.
Tzedakah.
So right.
That's doing the right thing.
Yeah, you don't need to be recognized. The people that are doing it to be recognized have different, reasons for it. But you're doing it for just the pure joy of helping somebody else and smiling. I always say, just look at someone in the street and smile at them, and you might have just changed their day because someone smiled at you.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be grand.
Yeah.
Right, and it's time. You're giving time and money, but time really could change someone's day, and I truly believe that.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, we've been blessed that we have the time, we can do this, and we have some skills that are unique to be able, that allow us to provide these to. But it can be done on any level. Like you said, helping someone on the street, giving them a blanket, doing some, and that's what we try to promote that also. When we talk with others. One of the things I'm doing now is I'm not working here in Boca Raton, Florida, full time. I'm doing a lot of work in rural areas. So I'm doing work in areas that they don't have a lot of access to healthcare, which I like. I enjoy that. So I get to see people in their deepest, darkest moments of despair, and try to be there for them. And people that haven't been to a doctor or seen a doctor in years, or doctors don't speak to them, there's no time. And then I kind of come to help make a difference. So I enjoy what I'm doing now. It's a different form of helping people. It's still part of my career, but it's a lot more rewarding than what I was doing more recently locally here. So I really enjoy this.
Like I said before, extraordinary people, everyday people like yourselves, just doing extraordinary things. I think about it often. Sean and I talk about it often. And, it's not every day you come across people like you. And I'm proud to call you friends, and I'm proud to know you. And I look forward to hearing more about what you're doing and getting involved when the time comes. And that's it. I'm incredibly touched, as I always am, speaking with you both.
We feel the same way about you, Sam,
Same way about you.
and that we appreciate both of you guys. What you're doing here is making the world a better place for sure by what you're doing. Absolutely, 100%.
Thank you for joining me today on my podcast, Putting the Brakes on Bullying, with my other co-host, Bernie Furshpan, and our special guests, Rachel and Jeff Miller. And like I always say, do something kind for someone today.